Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors podcast. The Greenway Outdoors is also an internationally syndicated TV show on Pursuit Channel and Wild TV. You are now tuned into our weekly podcast hosted by executive producer Kyle Green, production coordinator Jeff Hutchinson, director AJ Beadle, and creative producer Ryan Parks. We live in a world where our natural resources are almost solely protected by funds raised by hunters and fishermen. With over 60% of those funds coming from white males over the age of 55, the Greenway Outdoors team has set out on a mission to create content that would inspire millennials, Generation Z, and new sportsmen and women to get out, hunt, fish, and contribute towards conservation and the betterment of our planet. Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors. Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the Greenway Outdoors.
20.
I'm Kyle.
I'm AJ.
I'm Ryan.
That silence before AJ is just the perfection. Jeffrey can't be here with us today, so we will miss him.
Yeah, he's gonna be live tweeting us anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get plenty of comments, and I'll totally be nice and won't take any cheap shots at him while we're gone. This past weekend was actually a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. We went up to Ray's from Hot Shot Outfitters, we did the muskrat episode. We've done other episodes with Ray before, but we were up there doing a rabbit hunt, and it was just a lot of fun. We got up there super late.
It was weirdly fun.
I know, on Friday, and then, of course, we stayed up super late. I was watching Ancient Aliens because you guys came up later.
Big time. We were late.
What? Yeah, like 1:30.
Like 1, yeah.
I woke up at like 1 o'clock right before you guys got there, and I'm on the couch covered in barbecue chips, and I spilled my Coke, and I'm watching my third episode of Ancient Aliens. I'm like, I gotta get it together. I gotta get my life together.
We got an early start in the morning.
Yeah, and then we went and did the rabbit hunt the next morning, and it was fantastic. Rabbit hunts are really tough to film because not only
And hunt.
Yeah, I mean they're in such thick brush and thick briars and things that look a lot like what they look like, that spotting them on a camera is real tough, and spotting them in person is real tough. Mm-hmm. And they're also like pretty sporadic and random, so like getting the camera and the gunner both ready to hit them at the same time is tough.
It really is, because they can go in any direction at any moment. So you just gotta hope that you're on the path that they're gonna be on.
And there is a short time where I got my limit, so I was gonna let Ryan shoot some as well, and because Ryan hunts quite a bit too, and AJ will never set the camera down. He's got to be filming at all times. But yeah, Ryan wanted to try and shoot one, so we had it on camera. And we had a fiasco of footage that we'll have to show once that episode airs. But Ryan trying to shoot one. But I got to tell you, holding the camera and doing things a little bit differently, like, number one, I don't know what I'm doing. But number two, trying to spot those stinkers with your naked eye and then get the camera and look at it through the screen is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
Because when you guys look around, it seems to me like you live your life looking through that lens.
You have to.
Whereas for me, I'm like, find it here and then try and find it again. And then by then, it's already... I did okay, though. You said the footage to the one rabbit that came in I had.
Yeah.
I literally just was like, here. Like, just pointed at it like that, like, with no rationality whatsoever.
From what I could tell, when the rabbit ran real close to us, there was a glimpse of it. But like you said, it's like impossible to spot him on the camera.
It's so hard. And even looking at it, watching it back on our screens is tough. So it's not until you review the footage.
It's true, because we're looking at a 2-inch screen. You're hoping that you get it. And then once you get it on the bigger screen or even the TV, you realize, oh, okay, I did get the shot. It's just right back there in the middle of the screen.
Yeah, and then you got to zoom it in and this and that.
Yeah.
But AJ's the person in the group that isn't the hunter, but I think he may have spotted more rabbits.
I was just going to say that.
than anybody on the team.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
all over. That was probably
over.
my best.
Yeah, you were spotting them. And from what I saw, the clips that I saw, the footage that I got, you weren't missing them on camera either. So, and it was obviously pretty funny banter too. And I like any episode with dogs. They were adorable. Bunch of little beagles running around.
Little beagles.
They're cute though, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're workhorse.
They are workhorses. There is a the way that it actually works is we would like set up on a point. I did this last week. I'm gonna do it again. But I used a piece of paper as a perfect example. But essentially, and this actually works for this. It's 2 weeks in a row. You put a set of hunters here and a set of hunters here on a field, and you've got a rectangle here like this. and you'll release the dogs here, and they'll go in and they'll sniff for the rabbits. And hypothetically, they should push the rabbits so that the rabbits will circle up and around and try and get back to where they started, pushing them right past this group of hunters. And if they don't see them, then it should push past this group of hunters, and they should be able to take the shot. So it's like swirling around, and that's what the dogs do. And they get on the scent and they do that, and it works. Like it works. Like you
might
start
have to wait a little minute, but eventually
Yeah.
I think they do end up coming back around.
We waited a long time sometimes.
Well, let's face it. Jeffrey had that one group that went past him. Was it 6 or 7 times before we killed that rabbit? Did that rabbit live?
Was that close?
Did we end up killing it?
I was the Kyle when that one
Oh,
happened.
I did kill it. I killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He used all our ammo, but I'm the one that ended up getting it.
Yeah, that was the smartest rabbit ever.
Yeah. It's not smart enough to go in his hole though.
Yeah,
That's true.
So
if he has a hole.
he's got a hole. He's got to have a hole. They all do. That's where they live. But
Yeah.
he just kept circling and circling. And maybe the dogs were just doing a good job of keeping him away from it. But he was always about 100 to 200 yards in front of the dogs, which is what you want. So it's like as the dogs get closer and closer and closer, you're like, all right, they're about 100 yards away now. I should start seeing them. And you start looking around, and then the other thing is like you picture a rabbit like hopping around. Some of these guys look like they're crawling through stuff, but so fast.
Yeah,
like
very fast.
they're so fast.
They know they're running for their lives.
Yeah, and then you're trying to shoot them, and it's not an easy shot by any stretch of imagination.
Yeah, especially with some of the brush that they try to get through. Some
Right.
of your rounds just don't make it through.
Sometimes you like shoot at the brush that they're in as they're going into it, and you have to like go over and check them. But I don't think we had anything like that.
No.
We had some good running shots, and luckily a couple of them sat still for Jeffrey. So
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
That actually
he was
did happen,
3 for
didn't it?
3 in the last part of the day, which was
Yeah.
very surprising.
it was good. Ryan, how'd you do, buddy?
I did great. I would have done better if I wasn't planted on top of a giant pile of dry brush and sticks, where when you shoot, you fall backwards out of it.
That was just so crazy to me.
That was so awesome.
When Ray
You
was
couldn't
saying,
plant your feet in anything?
well, the way it was is like when you shoot, you have 1 foot forward a little more and 1 foot back.
Yep.
And when you shoot, your weight kind of shifts to the back foot. Well, when that happened, that stick or log underneath
okay.
that foot just snapped in half, and I go flying backwards out of this pile.
I thought it was perfectly stable, but then, I mean, he shot and he missed and he disappeared. And then Cheyenne had the gun because she was standing next to him, and then she shot and then she disappeared, and I had the gun and the camera, and I didn't know how all that happened.
Yeah, Cheyenne took the gun and shot, and then she fell backwards out of the pile.
I'm like,
insane.
I'm just standing here. Am I in the best spot? Am I the jerk that just stood in the good part and everyone else is just floating around? But that was hilarious. But we ended up doing pretty good. We ended up with 8 rabbits, and I think that at least 5 or 6 of them will be super good quality footage, which is
I'd say that's right.
tough for us to do. We're not a kill shot show anyways, but you have to show the harvest. Otherwise, it's it's not quite there. The first topic we have here is about basically location and the benefits of where you live and why there's like rapid success in certain areas geographically. And Ryan, you kind of were the head hunter on this one. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so there's this thing called the geographic luck theory.
Okay.
Interesting.
And what it is basically is depending on where you live on the planet, your country, where it's located, will determine how successful it will be.
Your life will be?
The country.
Oh, the country. Okay.
So,
Yeah, less of an individual, more of like a nation.
Okay.
right. So, for us, the United States, the reason that we're so successful is mostly because of when we were first starting out, we're really secluded on both sides. And we're so far away from everybody else. There were some people up in Canada and there were some people down in Mexico, but no one had an army or a force as strong as ours. And for anyone else to come attack us and try to take this land, it was almost impossible to send enough troops in time
I see.
and get them enough supplies in enough time before they were already shut down.
Interesting.
So like that was the first part of it.
I guess that's what makes Normandy so incredible. Like we had to all come over on boats, land, and then storm a
And hope
beach
we get
when they
there.
had all their footing, and you had to like ride in the ships all the way there, get off the ships, and then they're already
already shooting you.
And take
They're already
half of
having
their-
a full
more than half their fleet out.
in
pretty
order to
nuts.
succeed. It's incredible.
Yeah. So that was part of it. And then this other part is based on the rivers. The way the rivers are in the United States, it worked out perfectly. So this is the Mississippi water basin or watershed. So anything that's in blue is what runs to the Mississippi.
Okay.
All the water.
So it can get there eventually?
Yep. That's where it goes. Straight to the Mississippi, all that water. And they were talking about in the top right of the map.
By Maine? Or no, is that?
That's Pennsylvania, north side of Pennsylvania. There's some states cut out.
Yeah,
up
obviously.
There. It was easier to take the Ohio. I think that's the Ohio River. That's the very north side of the Ohio River, to the Mississippi, down to New Orleans, and out to the ocean, and back up to New York.
Oh wow!
On the coast.
You could do it.
So that was the easier way than taking it overland.
Oh wow!
Which is like 330 miles. Which isn't that? I just thought that was wild.
So
that
in order to get things back, instead of it was easier to take it through the waterways through the entire country, or at least the first half, come back around, than it would be to take it by land.
Yep, that 330 miles. And so that was just a part of it. Is that the way our water system works? This giant watershed made it perfect to get things delivered quickly. And the way the Mississippi just comes right out into the ocean, then you can deliver things to the entire East Coast.
From a military standpoint, or just supplies?
Anything. Delivering wood to the East Coast or whatever it might be. And the other one was our soil. The soil that we have is so much more fertile than other places of the world that we were able to make food at an insane rate, and we were able to have different crops in the south than up north because of the weather difference, and that made a big difference for like tobacco. So our country made a lot of money that way, and because we were able to do crops year round in the south, we were able to sell it to other countries and make a lot of money that way. So from
we were good to go from the beginning.
Yeah. So from a successful standpoint, from a military standpoint, is we're real hard to invade.
Yep.
And then from a e-commerce or I guess not e-commerce, but not e-commerce, but a commerce
web store.
The web store that they use, the Pilgrims. No, a commerce standpoint, as far as the economics go, it was easy to move goods from all over the place because of the way the watershed's set up.
Wow.
And then we have better soil. Do you think we have better soil because there was less people here over, like, considering we're a somewhat new nation in comparison to, like, see, everyone lived in Europe and it was so overpopulated for so long. Do you think that has anything to do with it? I don't know. It could just be the way things work. But
I don't think so. I think it was just the way things worked. By that time, I think farmers had already knew that you have to rotate your crops or give the fields a break.
Imagine memorizing all those waterways and knowing that if you're on this river, it goes to here, which can go to there.
They drew a lot of their pictures.
That's pretty insane.
That is a neat setup for how we were,
it's
how
like the
that
veins
helped
of
us
the country.
it helped us get a foothold quicker.
And the other one was our ability to farm large mammals here in the United States. So that was another food thing and resource, is that just the way the United States is, it's perfect for farming large amounts of large mammals.
How so?
We have big fields all the way out in the plains that you can just let whatever roam. And even here in Michigan and northern Ohio is really where it started, I guess, the big farming when the country was getting started.
Right.
So, and there's other places of the world, like the example they used in the video I was watching about geographic luck is that in Papua New Guinea, their crops, you have to plant one by one. It's like a root that you have to, that's mainly what they eat, is just this one root.
Yeah, it's the one that if you eat it wrong, it kills you, right?
No, it's not that.
Which one is that?
That's in South America you're thinking of. Okay. It might be there, but I forget what this plant's called.
Isn't it like a potato?
It's kind of like that a little bit.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
But they have that, plus a couple other things to eat, and there's no large mammals on the islands. So they don't really have access to large mammals or large amounts of meat, so it's all like weird little things like birds or small mammals and stuff like that. And they think that's it's an island, which makes it hard to make successful already.
Sure.
And the fact that it doesn't have a lot of natural resources, or you can't bring natural resources in and plant them easily or grow them easily, is part of the reason why it's not successful, like the United States is, where we have everything you can think. Like we have deserts, we have the northern habitat, the southern, we have like tropical. Yeah, we have every ecosystem you can think of.
It's true.
When you combine the whole country, definitely.
Yeah.
But it's hard to not think of the country as divided, not politically or all the BS that comes with that. I just mean like you said, we've got the people that are in Alaska live such a different life than the people in California, that live such a different life than the people in Utah, that live such a different life than the people in Maine, and then Florida and Texas. And it's just interesting to me, the spread out. But that was something, Hawaii is the reason why there's pigs there is they were brought in by people and then released, and that's why there's so many wild pigs there.
Oh, really?
It's a big food source. Now, of course, you always say, like, pigs are overrun and there's too many of them and they're eating everything. But at the time, there was a great meat source and a fast reproducing one at that.
That's
so
true.
it, like, made sense at the time. Plus, they're, like, not thinking long term at that point. They're like, I want bacon with breakfast.
Yep.
But that's another interesting point, too. Speaking of, like, survivability and all those different...
Is that a word?
I think so. I think survivability.
Or ability to
it.
survive.
Nice.
I like mine better. But so survivability of people... Ryan, you put in there for our philosophical question, what do we think the next mass human kill-off will be?
And what will cause it?
What will cause it? So since you led this one, what were your thoughts?
I don't know. I think it's going to be something technology-related.
That's a good point.
That I'm not saying like it's going to be like Terminator or anything, but I think almost a little bit like Y2K. Mm-hmm. Something like that where the system just knows enough about itself where it might shut down or find a way.
It's definitely it's possible, as some say. You know, and like you said, I don't know how dramatic it will be as opposed to like it is on Terminator, but you know, we don't know what the future is going to hold, and we are growing at such a quick rate where even 20 years could be. We don't know what we'll have or what can do what and what not.
We're the weirdest generation, AJ and I too, because when we grew up when like email was like new. Like we saw before the big technology boom, we lived during it and while it was being developed.
Yep.
And now we're also in the aftermath of it, so we know like what happened beforehand,
and we adapt to the current ways too. You know.
I literally remember when I dated a girl in high school, and when she moved away back to Germany, I remember at the time, it must have been 16, 17, I'm 29 now, 16 or 17, I remember thinking, I'll never talk to her again. Like, there's no good way to communicate now.
Yeah,
like, just because she's in
no way to
like,
talk.
That's it. She's gone for life. That's it. You know, this is, you know, so 2005, 6, something like that. So I'm at that time. But you, Ryan, who's 19, 20, is never going to... You wouldn't think that for a heartbeat. Be like, well, you have Facebook, Instagram, email, text message, WhatsApp, and a million different ways to communicate with someone outside the country. You can video chat every day.
It's kind of funny you brought that up, too, because a couple of days ago I was going through my emails from the first email I had, and I scrolled all the way to the bottom, and that's how we were talking, me and my friends. I didn't even remember that. Like, if I had thought about it, then maybe I would have remembered it, but... That's how it was like in 3rd and 4th grade. We were all emailing each other because that's how we talked. No one had cell phones like that. Like kids didn't have phones.
I remember getting my first cell phone as my mom's, but I always took it. I was like 16, and it was like a big deal to get the phone to take with me, and it had that snake game on it. It was one of the blue Nokias, but I
got that one.
And then my dad thought he was so cool because he got the ones where you could walkie-talkie with someone anywhere. Remember those ones too?
Oh, yeah.
It was like the loudest thing ever. I remember sitting in the living room, and he just got back from South Dakota, and he's like, when I was there, I clicked that thing, and I was talking to your uncle who's in Michigan like it was like we were in the next room. You know, it was like a big deal, you know? And but now we've seen it on the other side. So it's kind of an interesting shoot-off. But that being said, I think that gives us specifically our 25 to 35-year-olds that are in existence right now a unique perspective of those things, because we just I literally lived in a point where none of that existed. Like, video games were just starting, you know, Super Nintendo and stuff like that. Like, we lived something that nobody else did. It's very interesting. And we saw the other side, and we understand both, but we're the only ones that could possibly understand both because we're the only ones that live both.
That's true.
Very cool. little span to fit in.
To tie back to the question, what was the last one? Would you say? Would you think that'd be like the Holocaust or something?
I
mean, that's like 2 million people.
The Holocaust?
Yeah, wasn't it?
Well, it's at 6
I have
million.
Is it 6?
I have no
And
idea.
counting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have no many.
I guess
have
they're
no idea.
I guessed. I'll admit
in
it.
8th grade we went to the Holocaust Museum, the one that's down the road from here,
Mm-hmm.
and they said that they're still digging up bodies. They thought the number was at 6 million, but
Horrendous.
they're still digging up ones they didn't even know about.
I don't see anything like that coming. And there's always like every 5 years there's like this disease scare. What was that one? Zika. You know, they thought once that gets into the U.S. it's gonna wipe everyone out, and it doesn't, and it hasn't.
And Ebola.
Yep, that was the other one.
If I had to, yeah.
But I don't know what it will be. I don't know if it's gonna be something like disease related or like a sickness, like a plague or a bubonic plague or something like that, or TB. But we're so far advanced from that where those things don't really seem like they'll happen. So it's either going to be like an asteroid, like an Armageddon, or maybe something like what you said with technology.
I think I know exactly what it's going to be, and it's the scariest of all of them. And it's the only one that would make practical sense, that would be highly effective. You go right back to your map, look at the waterways. Now, if you look at our groundwater, what sits underneath us, if anyone got something into our groundwater, it would spread so quickly, effectively.
Good call.
And I don't even think it has to be something terrorist-driven. It could be whether I'm not going to get into the whole global warming thing even for a second, but
Like a nuclear power plant.
if something got into our groundwater, it messed us up pretty good and pretty fast, because that would connect to everywhere fast. People don't realize, like, you're walking around not only the water,
That's true.
right? So water settles underneath us at all times. And the groundwater is what feeds into all the springs, all the rivers, all drains, everything. That's what we consume. Like, people forget, like, they think they dump their nail polish down the sink and it doesn't matter, but, like, you're putting that into the system. So I would think for mass stupidity, terrorist, or just bad luck, like a new virus got released on accident and, it
That's a
got
good
into
one.
the water, and that would, because the other thing is,
So every option that you're choosing?
no, any of those things could get into the water. That's not every option. That's literally, I'm saying.
I
that's
see.
the
I
water
see what you're
option.
saying.
Any
I
of
thought
those
you were
things
saying the next kill-off will be from this
No,
and
no,
this.
no,
I'm like,
no.
that's everything.
It is everything. That's the point. Is I think it'll be through the water if it was going to happen. I hope
That's a good one. I
hope
never
to God
thought
it
about
isn't.
that.
But in
You
the,
think
in the
that
Bible, when it talks about the end of days, though, there's a lot of mass famines, and there's problems with food and water and stuff like that. So that would lead me to believe that is something that's talked about in the Bible. So that's probably going to be the case.
That's probably what the people caught in the Dust Bowl thought were happening.
What does?
Yeah.
No food. The
Yeah.
Dust Bowl that happened out west.
Oh yeah.
I remember
the
learning
farms.
about that
Yeah.
in history class.
You guys didn't learn about that?
I did.
No.
I
Oh,
did.
you
I
did.
distinctly remember it.
Yeah, they probably thought something like that was going on when all the fields start drying up and can't get water, can't get food,
Be pretty
can't
terrifying.
walk outside because there's so much dust flying around you.
The water thing creeps me out, because, like, I can solve almost any problem, like survivability, but, like, when you I'm gonna keep using it, but when you don't know, I look for ways to use it now. When you're not 100% sure if, like, where you can get water from, and, like, that starts to get pretty creepy fast.
It's
'cause,
usually
like,
the
you
first-
need it.
The first source you need.
Yeah.
The one that freaks me out is the volcano. It's not a volcano, but the Yellowstone National Park erupting.
Anytime.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard? You've heard
Yeah.
about that?
That girl's overdue too.
Yeah.
A lot of
When
things.
they
are.
say when that one erupts, that the world's over.
Yeah.
Like it's just everything's gonna be dead because it's gonna throw so much ash up into the air.
Can't grow food. That would explain the mass famines too. So that one almost makes. I
Yeah.
always tie it back to the Bible and what it says is going to happen. That would make sense. That would.
Well,
suck.
that's the end of days. That doesn't necessarily mean we'll have another mass kill off before then.
No, I agree.
You assume they're
But-
tied though.
Yeah, you could. When we come back, we're going to be talking about a few different things. One, a lady got mauled by a jaguar because she got too close to it at a zoo trying to take a selfie. There was a lynx captured in Michigan on a story that we covered previously, so that's pretty interesting. And you get to see Ryan eat a fish. Stay tuned.
Oh yeah.
You're a hunter, and because you hunt, you're the world's greatest conservationist. You're a huntervationist. You do more for wildlife and conservation than anyone. The Sportsman Alliance protects hunters from the animal rights movement. When the Sportsman Alliance gets involved in court cases or legislation, hunters win. Conservation wins. Become a Huntervationist today and join the Sportsman Alliance like we did to help protect your rights against the animal rights movement.
Hot Shot Outfitters in Port Hope, Michigan is the destination for whitetail deer, crow, waterfowl, rabbit, predator, and turkey hunts. We have cabins, over 30,000 non-fenced acres, and a passion for delivering fair chase hunts to you and your family. Reserve your hunt at hotshotoutfitters.com today.
When your hands are busy, your mind gets right. When your hands are busy, you can't point fingers and complain that life isn't fair. When your hands are busy, you're serving your family, your friends, and your community. When your hands are busy, you show everyone what you're capable of. The all-new Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2019 Truck of the Year.
Hello and welcome back to the Greenway Outdoors podcast. Ryan went pee-pee, so he's not here yet. But that being said, when we were on the break, I took the time to Google a word called survivability. And not only did I find it, I found that I was using it correctly. Survivability is the ability to remain alive or continue to exist. The term has more specific meaning in certain contexts. And let's face it, I used it in certain contexts.
There you go.
Man, that sucks to suck, huh, Ryan?
Yeah, it really sucks.
Anyhow, we're going to go into our...
I guess before we are over with this, I'd like to make it known that I use my words correctly most of the time. Most of the time, it's just the opposite, and I think that's why you're so excited about this one.
I don't think that's the case.
I think that is the case. I wish Jeff was here. I wish Jeff was here.
I'm glad he's not. I hope he never comes back.
He would be on my side.
I hope he's in a ditch. Social media comment of the week. This comes from a guy, and if you look up his YouTube channel, it's literally just the letter M. But it was on our video about Steve Rinella on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
And basically what we did was we talked about the fact that he was attacked, unjustly attacked by the right for partnering with somebody who happened to be liberal that invested in his company, even though he remained... he retained production control and did a great job doing that. And M said to us, "You guys nailed it. Thank you. I read the article and it was all wrong. Steve will never change the show and the podcasts are only getting better." So I don't know whether he's talking about Steve's podcast or ours, but I think he's talking about ours because I went to his page and he had like all his liked videos and they were all our podcasts.
Oh, nice.
So that was pretty cool to see. So M, wherever you are, hopefully you're hearing this one. Thank you so much for that comment. We agree with you on Steve. And I think that's a pretty great point.
I thought you were doing the other dude.
No.
Oh, yeah, the other dude.
I went with M. The other dude. We get the good and the bad. I went with the good this week. So
Fair enough.
Tip of the week: don't assume animals are not animals. So this is pretty. It's not funny. It's kind of sad, but it's also kind of funny.
It's funny.
It's funny.
It's like when
People are
natural
stupid.
selection jumps ahead into the present day, and people have to be faced with natural selection right now.
Some don't think it's a real thing. It baffles me.
I know. So what happened was this lady was at the zoo, and she wanted to get a selfie. And there was a jaguar, literally a jaguar. Like, pick something else, lady, too. A black jaguar.
Pick cockatiel. I mean, come on.
I know. That's the jaguar, actually, that was pressed up against the cage. And he was, like, near the cage, so she climbed over the cement barrier. And then got up. No, he was still in a cage, so she was thinking she was good.
Oh, okay.
But she wasn't. So she got real close to him to take a selfie, and he grabbed her. And he messed up her arm good. And we've got a picture of the arm, too. Here.
Oh,
Oh, do you actually?
Even better.
Well, kind of. You see it you see where. Yeah, but you're looking at
yeah.
you know that's like meat though.
That's fat. You can see the fat.
Yeah. So anyhow, he got a hold of her, and then there was a whole thing about whether or not they should put the Jaguar down, and it was like, well, hold on a second. The Jaguar did exactly what everyone thought he would do. If he wasn't going to do that,
there wouldn't be a barrier.
Why have the barrier in the cages? Why not just let them walk around and we'll all pet the Jaguar?
Yeah.
Because they're wild animals. People have this fascination with the fact that all animals, and I won't go into hunting and fishing stuff because we do that all the time, and our next talk will probably lead us there anyways. But people have like this fascination and this make-believe feeling about bears specifically, bears always, that they're just this cuddly teddy bear thing that's just lovable and sweet, and then they see like those stupid the dodo. It's literally called dodo. They do those articles and like, oh, this lion just loves this person and they're this and that and they're cuddling with them, and then everyone has this make-believe concept that all these animals are just cuddly and sweet and they won't rip you apart. This one was still inside a cage and did anything he could to get a hold of her, and I'm not surprised for a second. I just don't understand what leads to people thinking that animals aren't wild animals.
I would probably, if I was going to jump over a barrier like she did, I would probably do it with like a bear or something before I would do it to a large cat. Because cats, they kill just because they can, not because they want, like, have to. A bear would be like, kind of like, what are you doing? That's okay, what, you're just doing that. That's what you do.
And what part of that animal looks welcoming?
Right. Yeah. What if it's like, that's the thing too, is when we're talking about it and going through it, when you think about that and you're like, okay, let's go through like house animals and house cats. It's like, there's not a ton of house cats out there that would care if you died. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like they're not. But a dog, like, I think a dog would, like, it's different. So if I was like,
dog's not
different animal.
If you had to pet a wolf or a cougar, I would definitely go with the wolf.
I would definitely go with the wolf too.
And that's not to say the wolf isn't more. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not to say that the wolf wouldn't kill you. I'm just saying, like, he's more canine-like, so maybe he's. I don't know.
And plus, I would rather be killed by a dog over a cat, because the cat, they want to play with it before.
True. Yeah.
Oh God.
Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, they're nuts. Yeah, like they kill a mouse, they play with it for.
Yeah, they'll bite it, rip it open a little bit.
Yeah.
They'll try to squirm away. They'll draw it back in. Ugh.
I don't know what happened with that story, but I really hope they didn't kill the animal.
They didn't.
So they didn't. So that was the end result. Was they're like, the zoo staff. They put it into its own solitary confinement, I guess, away from the people, so no one can even see him right now. But they're not going to kill him because they determined that he was technically provoked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
like,
was.
I feel like it's null and void if you cross that fence. Now, had he done it like, you know, in a way where she was supposed to be, then yeah.
To her credit, she did an article afterwards with the news, obviously, because you got your 50 seconds of fame now.
Oh, what'd she say?
She said that the barrier should have been harder to cross.
Oh, she's blaming it on the zoo.
Wow.
Easy. Yes and no. She said the barrier shouldn't have been that easy to cross, but I take full responsibility for what I did because I should have known not to cross them in general. And that she said, but I'm not the first, and I definitely won't be the last, so they need to make bigger barriers and move people away from
the barriers are so tall, like you have to be above a certain height to go in zoos, so you can like look over the blocks.
And it looked like it was only about a waist-high barrier. But it was a cement barrier that separated you by, 15 or 20 feet to the cage. And then you just stay away from the cage, stupid. But she went over it and took a selfie and got mauled. And then, so she said that she hopes that they don't put it down either, and they determined not to. So.
Okay.
I wonder how she feels knowing
it doesn't
that.
always go that way.
She's like dumb and everyone knows it.
Yeah. Like to know the whole country is just talking about her, like, why are you so stupid? You were just so dumb.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where you do something stupid and you get away with it, and you just hope that happens to you. Because, I mean, I think we've all been guilty of that, but we haven't gotten mauled by a jaguar, so.
Yeah, you could see there might have been 15 people that did that before she got ripped open.
I think if someone gets attacked, like in the situation she kind of did, where there's no way the animal was going to kill her, probably. It would have held on to her for a while. Well, the way the cage looked.
Okay, yeah.
There's no way that cat was going to be able to paw to rip her guts open or something, and or like get down around her neck.
It was a big fence, yeah. But she's lucky she only lost her arm.
I don't. If the human gets out of it fine, I don't think that the animal should ever be put down for it.
didn't something happen with a bear or something like that?
There was
I think we covered it.
Harambe.
It was in one of the first. What happened? Well, I don't even. Harambe was such a big story, but now I don't remember what it was.
Kid fell in to the exhibit, fell down. You know how they
got those steep drop ones.
The trenches,
it's like 20 foot deep or something like that.
Yeah, the male gorilla went in there and just started flinging them back and forth like nuts.
Oh, I remember now. Yeah, like drug them around and stuff like that, and then they shot them, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then people were real mad about that.
That's a different situation though, because
you got to protect a human.
Yeah,
but why
that.
But
But
it's a kid too.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like a toddler?
Yeah, he was very young. But I think in that situation, it's okay because you got to protect the human. But if it's like that, where the human gets out of it, or there's it's high potential that the human's gonna live, I don't think the animal should be killed for doing what it does. What is it? That's its existence.
Not a dog.
Yeah. No, I get it. So our tip of the week: don't assume animals aren't animals.
Respect nature. She'll kill you.
She'll knock you
laugh
out.
about it.
Oh, you can't say she. You
Why?
can't. You got to use.
Because
Z.
Yeah.
Fee, fi, fo, fum. Whatever it is.
The gender specific.
I see. That's right.
You got to say.
I don't know.
Just it.
Being nature.
Yeah.
Instead of mother, because mother is female, and that's just not okay. So.
Learn something new.
The next story is actually pretty interesting, and it's way different than the last topic, but somewhat has similarities. So we went to Miami, and we did an episode on peacock bass, which will actually be airing next week on our TV show. So that's pretty cool. But we also
Fun episode.
We were also going to do an episode on iguanas. We did the python one there too while we were there. We were going to do an iguana hunting episode. And at the time, it's like, okay, iguana hunting. And when you say that from like a topical standpoint, it sounds like no big thing. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, you're hunting them like anything else. Like, well, first thing people always ask, well, are you going to eat them? And say yes. Down there, they call them bamboo chicken, and everybody eats them. So it's a culture thing. In different countries, they're like a heavily sought after. They're a big food source because they reproduce fast. Their meat tastes good. So people are eating them like crazy. So I was like, all right, well, we should do an episode on that because what hunting show have you ever seen? We even talked about it on air. What TV show have you ever seen covered an iguana hunting episode? And you're not supposed to hunt them there's all kinds of rules and regulations on how to hunt them, but essentially there's no bag limits. And it's like, there's rules and regulations, like you can't use a gun and all these different things in certain areas in different counties, and then it broke down to county. And Jeffrey spent an insane amount of time trying to research this, where it was like, at first everyone was like, yeah, you can do whatever you want, but then you couldn't in this town, but then you could in that town, and it was really difficult to navigate the waters. Well, where we were peacock bass fishing, the rules were pretty much do whatever you want. Now there, a lot of people poison them.
I was gonna say, yeah, we learned that.
And they poison them because there's so many of them. I don't really know how destructive they are, but there's so many of them that they poison them.
There's a lot.
Yeah, there's just millions of them everywhere. So people just don't want them there. So they'll poison them, and people hunt them, and they'll pay hunters to come in and kill them and everything like that. And then you start to get to that mindset. So that's like what our feeling is going in. And the most common way to do it is people would actually catch them with fishing poles and then kill them with, whether it be a knife, whether it be an air rifle, whatever it might be, that's what they would do. And it's like, hearing all that, it sounds, okay, pretty simple. But there's some hunts that I should even say some hunts. This hunt, specifically, sometimes just feels really uncomfortably weird. This is not a normal, this is weird. And I was trying to get to the philosophy of why it's weird. Now this video that we're about to show you is really cool because it's crazy and it's chaos
wild.
and it's
An exclusive.
It is an exclusive. This will not be in the show itself. But this is what happens when you're fishing for peacock bass and an iguana grabs your bait, runs on shore with it, and then this is what ensues. Oh my gosh. You gotta film this like a normal thing. So we had an iguana take the bait and he's taking it hard. Oh my gosh.
Is that a good fight?
There's a dinosaur coming at me though. We have to euthanize it quick. I've never seen this before. Do you think the net's a good idea?
Yeah, why not?
I don't know what's a good idea.
I mean, this wasn't a good idea.
Oh, no, you did. Nice. So you see him right there. He actually climbed up the net when we got him. And I like Drew when he said that. I was like, do you think it's a good idea to net him? He goes, I don't think any of this is a good idea. And by the way, Drew was a hired iguana hunter, by the way, too.
That's right. He did. I forgot about that.
He did that.
Yeah, someone paid him $500 a month to come to our house and kill at least 100 a week.
Yeah.
Because there was that many. It's insane. So there's a ton of iguanas running around. People want to get rid of them.
I don't think any of this is a good idea.
Yeah. So you get this thing in the boat, and then it's like, now you like have it, you caught it, and you have to kill it. Now it's nothing for someone to go out and catch a big tuna on a boat, pull it into the boat, kill it right away. You know, whether they use those big gaff things, they might use it in the head or whatever to kill it real fast so it's not flapping around and knocking everyone senseless. That's no big thing because nobody cares about fish, and that still baffles me. But when it comes to like an iguana, and you like pull that thing into the boat, and I immediately was like looking eye to eye with this sucker. It's like,
it makes eye contact with you.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, well, now we got to kill it. And we ended up doing that, and quickly and painless and everything like that. But the idea is we determined based on the experience that like we can't make an episode out of this because there's no way that people won't have a problem with that, and it'd be really hard to edit it in a way that would make people feel cozy with it.
Yeah.
And that's
You
strange.
have to get like 5 of them to make it
because
worthwhile.
no, people care about hunting. People don't like hunting, right? But people that don't like hunting, there's a group of 10%, maybe 20% that hate all hunting and everything's bad. And if you kill a squirrel, I hate you just as much as if you kill a fish, as much as I hate you if you kill a bear. It's about a 20% group, I'd say.
I agree.
The other 80% only gets upset about like lions, bears, elephants, and just certain critters tick them off. But
with some reason.
But they like understand why people shoot a deer, or they like they're not gonna go on the battlefront. They don't like it, but they're not gonna go on the battlefront of that day in and day out that you're deer hunting. Mm-hmm. But they will. It'll go viral if you go on a lion hunt. So it's like that the lion hunt, you gotta stay away from them. You know what I mean? And then in some countries they're eating monkeys, and it's like if they would go bonkers for that.
Yep.
And we determined that the iguana episode, which was a surprise to us, would fall under the 20% mark based on the variables of the experience. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking like, well, why? Number one, you're catching it just like you would a fish. You're killing it fast, probably faster than you would if you were bow hunting for a deer.
Yeah, probably.
For the most part, as long as you know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And you're putting them out. They're not suffering. You're catching them like you saw. It's like catching a fish. This monster dinosaur crawling up the boat. I was like, ooh. But
it runs at you. It decides it doesn't want to be around you and tries to run away. And then once it gets close enough, it decides it wants to come after you.
Yeah, it's like, all right, guy. It was like when you saw when I pulled him in the water, it was like
he scaled that so quick.
He pulled away fast, and then when he went in the water, because he's the one that climbed back up on shore. When he went in water again, it was on his terms. He's like, all right, I'll do this. Like, all right, let's
ready?
Yeah, here we go. And then I was like, I changed my mind. You know what I mean? Pretty quick. But the idea is trying to understand why there's that 20% mark. And like, why were we all in the boat at the time agreeing that it fell under there? None of us had a second thought. We're like, yeah, we can't do a show on this. Now, we ate the meat. We killed it fast. We were law-abiding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's technically not
Every single
illegal.
thing we did from a morality standpoint of the legal system was intact. The morality system of killing something to eat it without it suffering was intact. And the excitement of a hunt and stuff was definitely there. So why were we all like, can't show it?
Just weird and
I think
unusual.
that feeling you felt when you were catching it, I think that's why. Like, I think that that would resonate with all viewers.
Like, there's too much feeling going on. And I think the reason why I felt that way is exactly what Ryan said. It was weird. Mm-hmm. It's uncommon. So I was thinking...
And maybe the backyard, maybe the environment played part of that.
The environment was weird. When peacock bass
That's
fishing...
true.
Peacock bass fishing, they do it in the canals in Miami, and you're surrounded by houses. Like dogs were barking at us, and like it was like being in a backyard. Totally.
Yeah,
we did. We were literally in
I think
backyards.
if we were in like the jungle area and saw it, I think it would feel less.
That's a good point.
That's a very good point.
I never thought about that, because if you're deer hunting and you shoot it over a feeder in somebody's backyard, that does not feel like hunting, and I wouldn't want to do it. I would feel real weird about it.
That's
depending on how empty my freezer was.
That's a very good point. I don't think if we were like down
where we were at with
if
we
we
were
like
like
with
an actual jungle, I think you wouldn't think twice about it.
That's totally true. That is AJ. That was like, I think that was not what.
That's the smartest thing you've ever said.
That's the smartest thing. I don't care what Ryan says. You're staying. No, I'm just kidding. I needed to give some Jeffrey comedy relief, but that's totally true. Because if we were with like a native culture and they like brought in that iguana into the boat and they were like thunk, and chopped his head right off, and they're like, tonight we eat. I'd be like, tonight we eat. But the fact that like it felt like, if somebody saw it in their backyard while we're doing it, it might feel a little weirdish.
And they could even be like for it too, but just the domestic feeling of it might have some.
That was a very true point. I never even thought of that.
The take that I took from it when I really thought about it was, I think that people are real comfortable with what they eat on a day-to-day basis. So that's the people in the 20% group, the 80% group, and people that hunt. They're real cozy with the fact that, they're eating, because the first question that you get from a non-hunter especially is, or even a hunter, is when you're like, oh, I'm going goose hunting. They're like, you eat goose? I'm like, well, yeah, it's great. You don't remember the Christmas goose from, the Christmas Story? And they're like, oh, yeah, I guess so. And then that, like, you give them, I tell them that almost as like a guaranteed way of connecting with them that it's a standard normal practice, so that there shouldn't be any weird feelings about it.
Yeah.
And I guess I never thought about that until now. But then, because I use it as haven't you seen, I go to that every time I talk about goose hunting, because Lily's favorite food, my niece's favorite food, is goose. So, because that's all she knows. She doesn't know that other people will think it's strange yet. She's 6 years old, and she knows I like it, so she thinks it's cool, and she likes it because she gave it an honest try. So it's a normal thing in our house, so it was acceptable for that to be her favorite, And when you look at people are being real comfortable with what they eat, if you go outside of what they think would be acceptable to eat, it's almost looked at like a commodity that you would want to eat it. So like the iguana is like, well, you don't need to eat that. You could just eat fish or deer or something normal that you hunt for. You don't need to eat an iguana. It's like, because it's not normal or in their normal food groups, suddenly that there's a judgment passed that you're doing it for fun as opposed to food, and they're attacking that philosophy as opposed to the actual thing. And I don't know. I think AJ's reasoning is why I felt weird. But the reason why I think the 20 and 80% group is because of the example that I just gave. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That it's more along the lines of, that's a commodity meat that you don't need to be eaten, and you're going after it because you specifically want to just kill something, and you don't actually have to, whereas you could just eat normal food, and then that would be more acceptable to me because I don't like it.
I think that's any anti-hunter's argument too, is that you don't need to do that with the food that we have today.
Just go to the grocery store and get it. They don't kill them there.
Yeah, right. And I think that's what they believe. I think I'm perfectly okay with you disagreeing with, like, I talked Alex's aunt. I was talking to her about it, and she doesn't like hunting. She doesn't
Didn't you say she kind of supports the show, though? She's pretty cool about that.
Yeah, no, she's supportive of it and everything, but she doesn't like really the idea of hunting. She doesn't like seeing that kind of stuff, and killing things. I'm like, okay, well, do you eat meat? And she said, no, not really. I don't really eat any meat. I'm like, okay, well, then that's fair.
I got no argument with her then.
Right. You don't eat meat. You don't participate in the killing of animals. But
Ritual.
if you eat meat, but you're also anti-hunting, you're completely off base.
Yep.
Right.
Because you're also killing those animals. You're just paying more for it.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. No, that's good. Well, although that brings you to my other joke that I always make is no one pays more for meat than a hunter, because the ammo, the camo, the food,
depending on
travel,
how you decide to do it. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. In Michigan, we covered a story a few podcasts ago that there was actually a lynx spotted in Michigan, and that's what they thought it was. Well, apparently that lynx, the likely same one, has been wreaking havoc, and he was actually killing a bunch of domestic geese and ducks that a farmer had. And it was in the thumb area, the thumb of Michigan. That's how we describe it here for those of you who don't know.
Hold up our hand.
Yeah.
Backwards.
Is
it? Okay.
Yeah, I guess so. But anyhow, in the thumb area, we haven't had a lynx in the Lower Peninsula spotted in over 100 years. So it's a really unique thing that we thought we saw one on a camera.
Where is their natural habitat?
This is a Canadian lynx.
Okay.
A Canada lynx.
So they are in Canada.
Yeah. I don't think you're supposed to say
He's made a long ways.
Well, so here's the thing. So I did some research on it because you and I got pretty emotional about it earlier when we found out he was going to the zoo. But anyhow, so this lynx kept killing all of his geese and ducks. So they had a trapper come out and fasten up a trap that wouldn't hurt the lynx, and they were able to trap it and catch it. So then they took it to a place in Howell, Michigan, where they took it there as like a nature center. They take it there and they were giving it round-the-clock care and everything like that to keep it good because they wanted to run tests on it to see if it was a native species, was it somebody's pet that they had that they released. He looks adorable there. He looks like a house cat there, but he'll
mess you up.
Yeah, but they're tough cats, man.
Those feet, man.
And so, yeah, they got big old paws. I like lynx because it always looks like their legs, like, are not the right length. They walk real awkward, like.
Well, and their feet are so big for walking in snow.
Yeah. But anyhow, he was eating all the geese and ducks, he just makes him look kind of cute. But and the fact that he's like eating all those goose and ducks. But they were transferring him to the Detroit Zoo, and at first, my first inclination was like, well, why are they doing that? Like, are they going to put him on display there and stuff like that? It's not the case, actually.
Oh, okay.
The reason why they're sending him to the zoo is because they needed him in a better environment to run tests to see, again, is he native here? What is his, they're going to do a ton of studies on him, so we'll do a follow-up on this in probably a week or two as well. They're doing a bunch of studies. They want to know, is he actually a wild cat that was in Michigan, or is he just somebody's pet that they raised illegally and let him go? Was he,
crazy.
What was it? Because they haven't been here in 100 years, so why is he here?
Yeah. And if he's from...
And the thumb is mostly a farm environment where they like thick cover and trees and stuff like that. So it isn't even really the ideal environment for them. Although I guess anywhere you can get free duck and goose meat, you're good to go. But it's not an ideal environment either, so it would be weird that he would be there in the first place. So there's a lot of things surrounding the story that have them wondering what's going on. But it's super interesting.
And if you look at the geography of Michigan, if he's from Canada, he is a long, long ways away from Canada.
Sure.
For an animal to walk.
Right. You can like hitchhike, and it always fascinates me.
I don't know how they are able to hold up that thumb.
But if they got one, and he's not, that's awesome. If he got one, I picture a cat like, hey y'all, I won't bite. Don't trust him. But if he is a wild cat, there's got to be more, right? It's like the Sasquatch theory, where if there's one, there's got to be more than one.
Yep.
So if he is wild, there's got to be more. That just fascinates me, in the sense that there might be more of these cats running around. No.
Lynx.
No, the real thing, the lynx. Now.
That's up for another debate.
Yeah. Show me a picture. But anyhow, a non-blurry picture. But anyhow, the Snapchat video of the week is actually not a Snapchat video. It was footage behind the scenes. We were editing Peacock Bass, and that's when we stumbled across the iguana footage and also this footage. On a lot of trips, we're kids. The whole time we're on trips, all we do is laugh. Like, we have the best time traveling and cracking up. And even, like I said, this weekend, up at Ray's for St. Patrick's Day, and we went out after, and we had some
good material.
We did. We laugh all the time. Literally, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. We were going to bed on Saturday night, and I literally... My throat hurt so bad from laughing so hard. We were in the big bunkhouse, so there's like a bunch of beds in one room, and I fell asleep to hearing AJ go
laughing. Yeah.
Still laughing hours later at it. But this video here is actually of Ryan taking a bite out of a bait fish. So you're going to want to watch this and stick around. After that, we'll be doing our credits. Go to our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube pages. We post a video podcast every single week through New Radio Media. If you miss it on the mobile app through New Radio Media, then you can see it on our YouTube page. And if you're listening to us on iTunes or Google Play or Spotify or all the other things you kids are doing nowadays, then go to our YouTube page, watch it there, and you can actually see this, including videos like this one. Thanks so much for tuning in, and stay green.
You get to keep your job if you do it.
Shut
There it is. Well, Ben,
My offer still stands. You know what? I'll give you $5.
$5?
That's my final offer.
I'll kick in the other 5.
AJ, are you recording?
I'll kick in the other 5.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, for $10. Shake on it. Everyone's got to shake on it.
No, but not that good juicy one. Get a little one.
I spent 22 on pizza last night. You think I won't do this?
Not that juicy one, not that juicy one.
Not this juicy one? Not this
Because
juicy
there's
one.
not a lot of big ones.
I get that there's not, but I feel like the big juicy ones.
I feel like we're getting more value out of that
Oh
fish.
man, but seriously, you shouldn't do it, bro. You probably get sick.
Okay, here's a small one.
It's worth $10.
You heard?
What?
You said it.
What do you say?
You'll probably get sick, bro.
Really?
Yeah.
You can spit it out, but it's got to be in your mouth for 3 seconds.
There you go.
Okay.
You gotta swish it around.
This guy's a wild card.
Ready, AJ?
I guess.
Okay. This is our creative producer, Ryan. Ryan, if you eat the head off that minnow and it's in your head for 3 seconds, I'll let you keep your job and give you $10.
All right. Ready?
Yeah, I've been waiting. Do it.
Dude, okay.
Do it. Oh, he did it. 1, 2, 3. He spits it in my mouth. Oh, God. Was it gross?
Wasn't too bad.
No?
It tasted like if you bit your lip and like it was bloody.
If you do it with a peacock bass, I'll give you another $17.
With the head off a peacock?
Yeah.
$17.
Look at that.
Good job, buddy.
God.
Proud of you.